Welcome to the Daily Drop on Pro Ball Daily. I'm Mike.
And I'm Tara. And we are fired up today, Mike, because after that NBA game last night, I think we have to just dive right into the deep end.
You know it, Tara. What a night across the sports world. But let's be real, the NBA absolutely stole the show. We've got power index movers, crazy winning streaks, disastrous losing streaks, and one team, the Oklahoma City Thunder, making a statement that reverberated throughout the entire league.
Seriously, when you see a combined score of 253 points in an NBA game, you know you're in for a treat. The Thunder rolling over the Suns 131-122, that wasn't just a win, that was a clinic. And for OKC to be sitting pretty at number 1 in our power index with 77.3 points, it just reinforces that they are absolutely legit. This young core, man, they are clicking.
They really are, and that game was electrifying. But let's pump the brakes on the Suns for a second. To give up 131 points, that's not a championship defense, not even close. You can't just rely on outscoring everyone, especially against an efficient, high-octane offense like the Thunder's. And Phoenix actually edged out the 131-122 score? Wait, no. The data says OKC won 131-122. So Phoenix gave up 131 and OKC scored 131. That makes even more sense given OKC's power index ranking. My bad, I got ahead of myself with the combined points.
See, this is why we have 2 hosts, Mike. And honestly, that just makes OKC's performance even more dominant. They scored 131 on the Suns. That's a statement. But okay, before we crown OKC, we have to talk about this power index top 5. OKC at number 1, expected. Knicks at 3, Nuggets at 4, Lakers at 5, all strong contenders. But Charlotte Hornets at number 2 with 68.4 points. Mike, are we looking at the right data? The Charlotte Hornets?
I had to double take myself, Tara. The Charlotte Hornets at number 2? I mean, last I checked, they weren't exactly setting the world on fire. This has to be one of the biggest jumps or most surprising placements we've seen all season. Are they playing out of their minds right now? Is this a blip, or are they actually turning a corner? Because if they're truly a top 2 team in the league, the rest of the NBA needs to wake up and take notice. What are they doing that we're missing?
I'm trying to figure that out myself. Maybe it's a quiet run of form. Maybe they're just crushing some weaker opponents and racking up those power index points. But for them to be above the Knicks, the Nuggets, the Lakers, that's a massive endorsement from our metrics. I'm going to need to see them test against a real heavyweight before I buy into them as a true contender, but it's definitely something to watch. Could they be the dark horse of the playoffs?
A dark horse indeed. If they continue this, they won't be dark for long. Moving on from the top, we saw the Nuggets take down the Timberwolves 125-113, a solid win at home for Denver, and Orlando topped Detroit 94-88 in a lower-scoring affair. But before we leave the NBA, we have to address the Atlanta Hawks roller coaster season.
Oh, the Hawks. They are the epitome of inconsistency, aren't they? 55% in February, then they shoot up to an incredible 87% in March, a plus 20.0 versus their season baseline, which is huge, and then they fall back to 50% in April. What gives, Atlanta? Are they just a team that catches fire for a month and then fizzles? Or is it injuries, coaching adjustments? This kind of fluctuation is maddening for fans, and probably for the players too.
It tells me they haven't found their identity, or maybe they found it in March, then lost it again. You can't compete for a title with that kind of up and down performance. March looked like they figured it out, but April suggests it was just a hot streak. They need to replicate that March form consistently, or they're going to be an early exit in the playoffs, if they even make it.
Absolutely. Speaking of consistency, or lack thereof, let's switch gears to the ice and talk some NHL.
The NHL Power Index has the Carolina Hurricanes at number 1, 71.7 points, followed closely by the Vegas Golden Knights at 70.8. We saw Vegas just barely edge out the Utah Mammoth 5-4 last night, a tight game for 2 top-tier teams. Pittsburgh also got a narrow 3-2 win over Philadelphia.
Those are expected results for the top teams. But then you look at Buffalo Sabres at number 3, Utah Mammoth at number 4, and the San Jose Sharks. The San Jose Sharks at number 5. Mike, what is happening in the Western Conference? San Jose has been rebuilding for what feels like forever. Are they finally putting it together?
I honestly did not expect to see the Sharks in the top 5. This is a team that's been in the wilderness for a while. For them to be cracking the Power Index top 5 tells me they've either made some incredible moves or their young talent is blossoming faster than anyone anticipated. It's a fantastic story if they can keep it up, and definitely something to keep an eye on. But while some teams are rising, others are falling hard, and I'm looking squarely at the Boston Bruins.
The Bruins trend is just painful to watch if you're a fan. They absolutely dominated January, 91% performance, a massive plus 33.8 against their season baseline. They looked unstoppable. And then March hits, they dropped to 54%, and April, a dismal 27%, minus 29.9 against their baseline. What on earth happened to the Bruins? Did they run out of steam? Was there a key injury? It's a complete collapse.
It's a catastrophic freefall. You go from looking like Stanley Cup favorites to barely winning a quarter of your games in 3 months. That's more than just a slump. That suggests a fundamental issue, whether it's health, locker room issues, or just complete mental fatigue. They need to figure that out fast, or their season is going to end in absolute disappointment.
Totally agreed. From one kind of dominance to another, let's head over to La Liga, where one team is just steamrolling everyone.
And that team is, of course, Barcelona. They sit atop our La Liga Power Index with an astounding 80.9 points, and their stat of the day pretty much says it all, an 8-game winning streak. They are absolutely dominating.
8 straight wins? That's not just good form. That's a statement of intent. They are playing like a team possessed, leaving everyone else in their dust. And look at the gap between them and second-place Alaves, who are at 60.7 points. That's a 20-point difference. It's a 2-horse race for the top, except the first horse is so far ahead you can barely see the second one.
Exactly. While Barcelona is flying, a lot of other big names are struggling, and I mean struggling. Atletico Madrid are on a 4-game losing streak, Real Betis a 6-game losing streak, and Sevilla a 5-game losing streak. 3 major clubs all in freefall. What's going on in Spain, Tyra? Is everyone just demoralized by Barcelona's dominance, or are these teams facing their own internal issues?
It's a combination, I think. When one team is so incredibly dominant, it can certainly deflate the competition. But these aren't small clubs. These are teams that expect to be in the European spots. A 6-game losing streak for Real Betis is unthinkable. It speaks to a lack of depth, a lack of resilience, or perhaps just a tactical mismatch across the board. They need to find a way to stop the bleeding, and fast, or they'll be out of contention for anything meaningful before they know it. Meanwhile, we saw Levante and Espanyol play to a 0-0 draw, which feels like a typical mid-table struggle.
Absolutely. From the struggles of La Liga, let's transition to the madness of college basketball. The NCAA Basketball Power Index has Michigan Wolverines at number 1, 80.4 points, Arizona, Duke, UMass all in the top 5. But like the NBA, we have a surprise at number 2, the George Mason Patriots, 79.7 points.
George Mason at number 2. Talk about a team nobody saw coming. This is huge for the A-10 conference. They're ahead of Arizona and Duke. That's not just a good season. That's a potential Cinderella story in the making. Or maybe they're just an elite program now. I am absolutely loving this. They must be playing some incredible basketball right now.
They must be. What a dark horse for the tournament if they maintain that form. And speaking of dominance, how about the UConn Huskies at home? 100% win rate, a staggering 25.0 point differential. They are absolutely invincible on their own court. Good luck to any team trying to go into their building and come out with a win. That's a fortress.
Unbelievable home court advantage. It makes such a difference in college basketball, and UConn exemplifies it. Also interesting for those keeping an eye on the betting lines, both Duke and Michigan games go under their average total 40% of the time. That's a significant trend for 2 major programs. And St. John's Red Storm had a perfect March. Consistency in March when it matters most is what you want to see.
It's all about peaking at the right time. Let's shift to the Premier League now, another league with some incredible highs and devastating lows. Manchester City tops our power index with 84.4 points, as expected. But Brighton and Hove Albion are right there at number 2, 83.8 points.
Another fantastic story. Brighton at number 2 is absolutely brilliant. They play such an attractive style of football, and it's clearly paying dividends in the power index. To be pushing Manchester City like that, it shows they're not just a feel-good story. They're genuine contenders. They beat Brentford 2-1 last night, another solid result.
They're proving that you don't need unlimited spending to compete at the very top. But while Brighton is flying high, we have some serious relegation worries. Burnley is on a 7-game losing streak. That's a complete disaster. They can't buy a win. And then you have Tottenham Hotspur, a traditional Big Six club, on a 6-game losing streak themselves. What is happening with Spurs, Tyra?
Oh, the Spurs faithful must be absolutely tearing their hair out. A 6-game losing streak for a team with their talent and expectations is just unacceptable. It's not just bad form, it's a crisis. It speaks to a complete lack of confidence, maybe tactical issues, or even a manager losing the dressing room. They went from being European hopefuls to fighting to stay in the top half, potentially even falling further. And Burnley, 7 games is almost certainly a ticket to the championship. You don't recover from that kind of run easily.
No, you don't. It's a stark contrast between the top and bottom of the EPL. From the global game to our domestic one, let's talk MLS. The New England Revolution lead the power index with 75.8 points, followed by Real Salt Lake and LAFC.
The Ravs are looking strong, as usual, but the San Jose Earthquakes are making some serious noise with a 6-game winning streak. That's a huge surge for them, rocketing up the standings and showing real intent. They're playing with confidence, and that can carry a team a long way in MLS.
Absolutely. A 6-game streak in MLS can completely change your season. But again, like La Liga and the EPL, we're seeing some rough patches for other teams. Atlanta United FC is on a 5-game losing streak, FC Cincinnati a 4-game losing streak, and DC United also on a 5-game losing streak. It seems like consistency is the rarest commodity in professional sports right now.
It really is, Mike. 3 big clubs struggling to find wins. It's tough out there. And the parity in MLS means losing streaks can really set you back. Atlanta United in particular has high expectations. A 5-game skid is going to hurt.
It definitely will. All right, let's wrap